President of the Atkins Kroll Company, which was the main industry before the war, was copper production. The biggest copper plantation was up at Anderson Air Force Base, at Taraji. And there were other big ones around the island. Jotnia was another big one. Epan was a big one. During the war, the Japanese took it over. It was used as officer housing and then troop recreation. It became a comfort women's station. And then it was used as a main artillery depot in World War II. It was heavily bombed. All the buildings were destroyed because the artillery was here. The artillery, because it was positioned this way, most of it, didn't have a lot of impact on the invasion beat, but they still had some effect. Behind us over here, these are the Chinito Cliffs. There are two series of cliffs. The first one's in front, you see here, and then there's a level, well, there's a flatter area, and then you see the high cliffs behind. The Chinito Ridge was never taken from the front by the American forces. On this slope is a series of gun positions here, the front slope. On the reverse side of this hill were a bunch of caves for reverse slope guns positions, especially big mortars. And they would fire down on the troops that are invading, and then Americans would return fire, but they couldn't hit it because it was on the back side of the hill. So that took a heavy toll on the troops who were trying to invade. You see, it's all these little finger ridges coming down like this. On each knuckle going up, there was a Japanese machine gun position. The Americans couldn't frontally charge a machine gun position, so they tried to get up to the finger ridges. And basically, they're in the middle of enfilade fire, and the machine guns would open up and they would have to drop. At that point, the Japanese would fire off hand grenades and roll them down the hill into the troops. For 4 days, the Americans attacked. They got this first ridge eventually, but they could never fight their way to the back. There was, to my knowledge, there was only about 200 Japanese troops here, and 2 American divisions were going up there, but they kept getting pulled back. Finally, on the 4th day, the officer in charge was getting crazy because they weren't getting anywhere and he looked like a fool. So he said, attack, attack, I don't care what happens, just attack and get that ridge. So they started a rolling barrage from the guns and the artillery which had been landed. They worked this way up the hill, and the American troops went up right behind it. And when they got to the top with their bayonets, they came over the top and they found Americans. They had crossed all the way over from the far ridge where there was less resistance, and when they approached, the Japanese retreated out to the Nimitz Hill Heights, what's that called? Fonte Plateau. And so it was taken from behind, not from the front. And there was a lot of houses in here. If you get up in there, it's horrible jungle, really thick limestone, jagged edges, but there's lots of war stuff up there. It's just, the last time I went up there with a group, it was a group of Boonie Stomp leaders. And by halfway through the day, everyone was out of water and suffering heat exhaustion. They had to come down early. So it's really